Everybody's leaving Cape Coral. If you've searched Google lately, you've probably run into this exact headline. Is it actually true? That's one of the most common questions people are typing into Google right now. And I'm going to give you the real answer. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral waterfront realtor, and I live this market every day. Yes, some people leave. I'll walk you through exactly why, but the reasons are a lot more ordinary and a lot less alarming than the headlines make it sound. Let's start with the biggest one, and honestly the one I respect the most. People get older and priorities shift. Here's the cycle I see over and over here in Cape Coral. People retire or their kids move out and they come down to Cape Coral for the sunshine, the water, the slower pace. They live here for years, sometimes decades, and they love it. But eventually, as health needs change, a lot of folks want to be closer to their kids and grandkids again. Maybe they need more support, maybe they just want family nearby. So they head back north. There's actually a name for this in the real estate world. It's called the halfback pattern. People go all the way to Florida, then move halfway back to the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, somewhere that's still got decent weather, but puts them closer to family. That's not a Cape Coral problem, that's just life. People in their 60s have different needs than people in their 80s. If anything, it tells you Cape Coral does exactly what it's supposed to do. It gives people an incredible chapter of their life. It's not meant to be everyone's last stop, and that's okay. The second thing people bring up is cost, insurance, property taxes, the price of homes climbing over the last few years. And that's fair to ask about. Cape Coral isn't the hidden bargain it was 15 years ago. But here's the context that matters if you're shopping right now. Home prices have leveled off. Sellers are offering real incentives to move their homes, and insurance, while still a real cost you need to plan for, has stopped the wild year-over-year spikes we saw right after Hurricane Ian. The market's actually in a calmer, more rational place today than the headlines from a couple of years ago would have you believe. Now, the bigger picture, Florida still has zero state income tax. That's real money back in your pocket every year, especially if you're coming from a high tax state. When you run the full numbers, not just the scary insurance quote, but the whole financial picture, Cape Coral still holds up well against a lot of the country. Now, let me give you something people don't think about until it's too late. Which home you buy has a massive effect on what you'll pay for insurance. Location matters, how close you are to the river, which canal you're on, whether you're in a flood zone. The age of the home matters, the elevation matters, the roof matters too. Age, material, how it's attached to the structure, wind mitigation features like impact windows, hurricane straps, and a hip roof versus cable roof all move the numbers on your insurance bill, sometimes dramatically. This is exactly why you want an agent who actually understands these variables, not just someone who can unlock a door and show you a kitchen. The right agent is looking at the elevation certificates, flood zone maps, roof age, and wind mitigation reports right alongside the price and the square footage. That kind of guidance can save you from five-figure insurance surprises after closing, and it can save you weeks of headaches trying to untangle it after the fact. This is one of those areas where having the right expert on your side before you buy makes all the difference. And while we're talking taxes, this is the single most misunderstood number in Florida real estate. So let's clear it up. If Cape Coral is going to be your primary residence, you can file for the Florida Homestead Exemption. Once you have it, your home's assessed value, the number your property tax is actually based on, can only go up by 3% a year, no matter how much your home's market value jumps. That's called the Save Our Homes cap, and it's been protecting Florida homeowners since 1992. But if you're buying a second home, a snowbird property, an investment, anything that's not your primary resident, that cap is 10% a year, not 3%. That's a huge difference, and it's exactly why you hear so many people saying their property taxes are going through the roof. In a lot of cases, they're talking about a second home or a non-homesteaded property where the cap is more than 3 times higher than what a full-time resident pays. So if you're planning to make Cape Coral your actual home, not just a winter getaway, file for the homestead exemption the moment you're eligible. It is one of the most valuable and most overlooked protections in the entire state. And yeah, hurricanes are part of living here. I won't pretend otherwise. If you move to Cape Coral, you need to go in with your eyes open about that. But living with risk and living in fear are two different things. Building codes have gotten dramatically stronger since 2002. Newer homes are built to handle this. Now, the city rebuilt fast and strong after Ian. People who move here and do their homework, choosing the right home, getting the right insurance, having a real hurricane plan, live here for years without it being a dominant part of their life. It's a fact you plan around, not a reason to cross this place off your list. Here's one I deal with all the time, and it doesn't get talked about enough: the job market. Now, if you're coming from a big city up north, Chicago, New York, Philly, you need to understand something before you load the truck. Wages here are lower. Local pay in this metro runs meaningfully below the national average. And a lot of the job growth here is concentrated in specific sectors, not across the board. So if you walk in assuming you're just a slot in the same salary you had up north, in the same industry, that's where people get blindsided. That's a real reason some folks end up moving back. They didn't run the numbers on income before they ran the numbers on housing. Here's my advice: have a plan before you move, not after. I've seen it work two ways, really. First, remote work. If you can keep your job and your salary and just relocate where you live, that's the best of both worlds. I talk to people doing this all the time, and it's a fantastic setup if your employer allows it. Now, second is healthcare. If you're in nursing, medical assisting, allied health, anything in that world, this market is strong and it's growing. Healthcare has consistently been one of the fastest growing sectors in this region, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. What I don't recommend is showing up with no job and no plan, assuming something will turn up. Could it? Sure. But you're better off lining up work first, whether that's transferring remotely, landing something in healthcare, or another in-demand trade before you make the leap. That one piece of planning prevents a lot of the "we had to move back" stories I hear. Now, here's the part that actually answers the "everybody's leaving" headline. They're not. Cape Coral's population has grown every single year for over 2 decades. The city is sitting around 242,000 residents right now and is projected to keep growing towards 320,000 plus by 2050. There was an estimated $1.7 billion in residential and commercial construction here in 2025 alone. That's not a city emptying out. That's a city still very much in growth mode. For every retiree who eventually moves back north to be near their grandkids, there are multiple new families and buyers moving into the Cape Coral area right now. The numbers don't lie. So if you're considering Cape Coral, don't let a scary headline make the decision for you. People leave for the same reasons people leave anywhere. Life changes, family pulls you somewhere, priorities shift as you age, or somebody moved without a plan and it didn't work out financially. None of that is unique to this city. What is true, and what the numbers back up, is that Cape Coral remains one of the fastest growing places in the entire country, with people choosing to move here every single day. I work with people navigating exactly this decision all the time. Now, if you want the real numbers, what it actually costs, what the job market looks like for your field, what neighborhood makes sense for your stage in life, click the link below and book a complimentary strategy call with me. Let's talk through your specific situation and figure out if Cape Coral is the right move for you.